guys, so welcome back. Thank you for hanging out, spending a few moments here with me. If you're new, definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Now, Dodge just released the third teaser, and we're going to go over what it actually means along with the first two, and hopefully this gives us a better clue as to what we can expect for this final last call model. There's a reason why they're hyping it up. They're inviting Demon owners to take a look at it first. They are going to be starting off with a Redeye Super Stock. They are going to be replacing that 2.7 liter supercharger with a Hellcat 3 liter supercharger. So it's going to be pushing way more air. Along with that supercharger, you're going to see upgraded pistons, rods, and crank, along with fueling. So larger injectors, possibly an additional or larger pump for either higher octane or E85. Now, the speculation that is surrounding the internet is that they were working on an electrical supercharger, and the idea behind this is there's no parasitical loss. But they didn't think that it was dependable enough. There was some kind of engine issues. So they ended up sacrificing and going with that 3 liter supercharger. Now, the first teaser features a smaller Leprechaun with a Redeye, and this likely signifies the Hellcat Redeye. It's hooked up to a yellow IV, and once the yellow liquid gets injected into this smaller Redeye Leprechaun, it turns into a much larger Leprechaun. And this is likely the final last call model, this larger Leprechaun, and that liquid is likely E85. Now, the question that I have to ask is, if it's really just about speed and horsepower, I don't think the larger Leprechaun would be that much larger. I think it would be maybe the same size with a yellow eye or whatnot. Dodge is hinting that this final last call model is going to be bigger and badder in some regard. The second last call teaser is density matters, and you see both of the Leprechauns on a scale, and the scale kind of tips into the larger Leprechaun's favor, and in the end you see 7.1 pounds, and I believe that this is additional air. In the Hellcat, you have the supercharger making 15 pounds on a 426, making 1,000 horsepower. With the Redeye, it's 14.5 pounds of boost on a 6.2 liter, making 800 horsepower. And so if you did the math on that, the last call model is going to have 21.6 pounds of boost on a 6.2 liter, making over 1,000 horsepower on some kind of higher octane fueling. That brings us to the teaser number 3, and it's labeled Scream at 215 miles per hour, which kind of indicates that, hey, the top speed on this thing is going to be very high. You're going to be able to top out at 215. The video actually has nothing to do with top speed. It shows the larger Leprechaun walking up to a device that measures wind speed, and he blows into it, and you see 1582, which is a number that is significant because it measures the CFM, how much air is actually coming into the intake. So if you take a look at the Redeye, it's 1396 CFM, and the regular Hellcat is 1256 CFM. And this is significant. This shows that there is likely going to be a much larger intake, possibly a larger throttle body, and this kind of supports that larger supercharger, 3 liter supercharger. It's going to be moving a lot of air. So after reviewing the 3 teasers, it kind of does support the idea that they are taking pretty much the fastest Challenger that we have, which is the Redeye Super Stock, and they are going to make it a much higher horsepower vehicle. Now, nobody knows if this thing is going to be street legal. Is it going to be a drag pack? Nobody really knows. I mean, Dodge did promise the Demon owners that this is going to be the fastest, highest horsepower street legal vehicle that you're going to be able to get your hands on. So we don't really know if this is going to be even street legal. Is it going to be the last drag pack that we're going to see? How many of them are actually going to be made? How much it's going to end up costing? But the things that we kind of can piece together are that, you know, number one is the The fueling is getting upgraded. There's significantly more air going into the engine, and it's going to be really quick. Now, one thing that a lot of people are forgetting is that the license plate said 1fast29, and that could mean multiple things. I believe that it means that this is going to be 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. A Hellcat Redeye is in the neighborhood of about 3.5 seconds. And then it could also mean one fast 9-second car. And I believe that they're trying to make a car that's closer to 9-second flat. And this is going to be something that will line up against a lot of the electrical vehicles and show them that internal combustion engines can compete from a performance angle. So, you know, Dodge is releasing some really cool teasers. They're very cryptic. There's some hidden you know, gems in there. But I believe that we're, you know, what I said was really the gist of each of these teasers. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about these teasers, what you think this final last call model is going to be. And guys, hopefully, you know, they don't let us down. Hopefully this thing absolutely rocks. I would love to see a street legal, you know, 1,100 horsepower monster on E85. But, you know, we'll see.
When we started out to build a Demon, we didn't start out to compete with anyone else in the industry. We started out working from our background and being the best version of what we could be. Because we are completely different. We are not trying to be a sports car. We are not trying to be a pony car. We're trying to be a street strip muscle car, and there's no one else in that space. We decided very early on in the project that the key to success on this car was going to be the last tenth. And I don't mean the 10th of a second in the quarter mile. I mean that last tenth of effort that was going to push you beyond an interesting stat into a stat that had never been done before. I mean, you start at the top of the list, drag radials. No one's ever put drag radials on a car. They've been available in the marketplace, but they've never been put on a production car. That's a first that we're very proud of. Transmission. No one has ever put a trans brake in a production car. No one has used the air conditioning system to cool the intercoolers. The Demon engine is all new. It's not a tuned up version of our Hellcat engine. The only part that carries over is the cylinder head. We deck honed the block, which is something you see on high-end race car engines. New crankshaft, new connecting rods, new pistons, new camshaft, all new valve train, and a new larger 2.7 liter supercharger.